Management support for a knowledge-sharing culture is also important, and evaluating sharing in annual performance reviews so it can affect raises and promotions can also reinforce that support. Overly complicated technology with long learning curves and high price tags sinks many knowledge management projects. Especially given human concerns about knowledge sharing, systems with novel or awkward user interfaces can easily turn people away. An intuitive, user-friendly interface encourages people to actually use the system. If the technology is smoothly integrated into the systems people use every day anyway, it is more likely to be used. The content of knowledge repository is another key element in its success. If it is stale or inaccurate, people will quickly learn to distrust the entries, particularly for structural knowledge. A review process should ensure the contents are up to date and accurate. Too little content can also cause people to abandon the project. If they repeatedly search the repository for answers that aren't there, they will look elsewhere and the knowledge base will eventually wither. A critical mass of content is needed from the onset to convince people of its value. Managing knowledge on the web involves building the semantic web, which is a web with meaning, in which the resources and their relationships can be read and understood by computers. The web now offers links from one page to the next, and the meaning of that link is clear to human beings who are reading the page. The semantic web relies on the resource description framework to describe resources and their properties. RDF describes a resource and its properties like a sentence, so that the actual relationship between the parts of the sentence can be understood. The semantic web will also make it possible for agents to integrate information from many different databases and collections with different structures, terms, and entity names. Futuristic scenarios about the semantic web show how it might transform how consumers and businesses interact. If you're hungry, you could send out your agent to check which restaurants are open, which have special deals, and which friends are nearby who might want to join you. It could also check where you ate last night and based on your past choices assume you don't want the same type of food. If you like your agent's choices, it will reserve the table. After years of lessons learned, practical tips have emerged that will help projects get off to solid footing and avoid mistakes of the past, including identifying a clear and specific goal and starting small, get management buy-in for the project from the onset, find the assets and human experts in the organization that can help start up the knowledge base and populate it with valuable, accurate, and up-to-date information. Choose technology that is simple and user-friendly and that integrates easily with existing systems. Introduce the project as a pilot with a smaller subset of receptive employees. Develop knowledge-sharing incentive strategies appropriate for the organization. Actively encourage people to participate, suggest improvements, and add to the organization's collective intellectual capital. Learning is central to an organization's capacity to build intellectual capital, and ICT can transform the process through e-learning. E-learning refers to a very varied set of instructional approaches that all depend on ICT, especially the Internet, to connect trainees with learning materials and also with their instructors and other trainees. Instruction might be designed as self-paced e-learning, in which students use online materials independently with little or no instructor involvement. These self-paced learning programs are especially useful for gaining structural knowledge such as technical training. Instructor-led e-learning can include synchronous events in which students and instructors interact using online tools at the same time, though from different geographic locations. With increasing internet bandwidth, synchronous e-learning events can bring together instructors and students wherever they reside, using their own computer screens, speakers, microphones, webcams, and internet connections. Instructor-led e-learning can also incorporate considerable asynchronous activities, in which the students can log in at any time to work through online course materials, submit assignments, take assessments, or send messages, much like you do in this course. Hybrid programs blend some online activities with in-class sessions to create a rich learning experience. A team is required to create an e-learning course. Subject matter expert knows just what should be included in the course and possesses the content expertise. Instructional designers will help clarify the goals of the course, develop an effective e-learning strategy based on the needs of the trainees, and design assessments that will confirm the trainees have mastered the material. The designer has expertise in what works for online learning and how to bring content to life. Project sponsor defines the project's goals and pays the bills. Project manager coordinates all activities, tracking progress from kickoff to completion. Each topic will involve a learning object, which is a digital resource that can be embedded in the course, and then edited and reused for other purposes if needed. A learning object may be as simple as a text document converted to a web page or a PowerPoint presentation, or as complicated as a multiplayer interactive game custom built with Java. Presentations with audio soundtrack are popular for e-learning, especially because many people are familiar with PowerPoint. Narrating the presentation is essentially what instructors would do during a face-to-face class session, so this type of learning can be easy to develop and is actually what you're listening to right now. A number of content authoring tools support interactivity beyond just moving slides forward or turning the audio on or off. For instance, some software helps developers create interactive diagrams that students can explore with a mouse, with pop-up text boxes or narration that explains each component. The computer screen itself can be an important element in any e-learning program, especially if the topic is about software or programming. Online activities that simulate a scenario and invite the learner to make choices that lead to different consequences can make very engaging learning objects. A great advantage of simulations is that they offer people a chance to practice skills without risk to themselves or to others. A learning management system is a software application to administer courses, track student progress, and manage educational records. Many offer other features such as online registration, assessment tools, collaborative technologies, and payment processing. The learning management system hosts the e-learning content and assessments and provides a range of tools to create learning objects, quizzes, and tests. Several standards for learning objects have emerged, and the LMS vendors added tools so clients could export and import learning objects. A widely used set of standards that originated with work in the U.S. Department of Defense is called the Shareable Content Object Reference Model. The long history of knowledge management efforts makes it clear that people can learn at least as much from their peers and mentors on the job as they do from formal learning programs and instructions. People are so accustomed to social networking and other Web 2.0 applications that it is an easy step to build these tools into e-learning environments. Many learning management system vendors are doing this by adding support for wikis, blogs, personal profiles, discussion forums, and virtual classrooms. The different learning management systems used in corporations and education are beginning to converge as corporations seek to build social software into their e-learning programs and LMS vendors respond. Blackboard is a really good example of a learning management system. Years of research that compares student outcomes for e-learning and classroom-based learning show few differences. In many studies, students taking the e-learning course actually do better. However, the results are very variable and the experimental controls are not often strong. E-learning comes in many varieties, and a student's experience and learning outcomes in each can be quite different. Conventional classrooms vary dramatically as well, due especially to the talent, expertise, and energy of the teacher. Even the technologies of e-learning cover a wide range. Finally, the nature of the student counts. Success in e-learning courses depends heavily on the student's ability to adapt to this learning format and especially to apply top-notch time management skills. E-learning and classroom learning are complements to one another, not competitors. Organizations can blend them in creative ways. Learning is an essential building block in any effort to manage intellectual capital in a broader sense, and e-learning is a powerful tool for knowledge management. When learning is integrated smoothly into day-to-day work, it does not feel like learning at all. Instead, it adds to the organization's culture of knowledge sharing and cooperation and constitutes real progress toward effective knowledge management. In summary, intellectual capital is the collective knowledge of people in an organization, and the three types are structural, human, and social capital. Explicit knowledge can be documented and codified, but tacit knowledge is more difficult to capture. A knowledge management project begins with the identification of the goal. The second step is locating the sources of knowledge. The third step is to capture the knowledge. Knowledge must be organized, shared, and valued to be most useful to an organization. Human beings present challenges to knowledge management efforts, especially because many incentives exist to hoard valuable knowledge, not share it. E-learning is an important ingredient for building intellectual capital and developing talent. Approaches include self-paced e-learning, instructor-led e-learning, and hybrid programs that combine face-to-face classes with e-learning. E-learning programs begin with clear objectives. Learning management systems support e-learning programs. Although there are many varieties of both e-learning and classroom-based learning, Research generally confirms that outcomes for e-learning are equal to or slightly better than face-to-face classes. Good news for all of you who are taking online classes. Thank you for joining. That is the end of Chapter 9.